Hello, we are back with Mary Lou Martin, not only one of my favorite leaders in society, but a dear, dear, dear friend and a great organizer.
And that's important.
Yeah, I know it is in my life.
Mine too.
Oh, and she has a lot of probably I could say oomph behind her name, as well as writing a book, which you see on the back shelf back there. I just noticed that, The Big Quit. Uh, and just Dr. Mary Lou Martin, actually, she has a doctorate degree just in organizational leadership, but she's much, much more than that. She does speaking engagements all over the world and just has a wealth of knowledge and practical sense. And it is with great pride and excitement that I bring you on again today. Thank you for podcast too. I love it.
Well, thank you, Liz, and thank you for that introduction. I like to say it's just that I've been around a long time and I've used a lot of experiences, so it just looks like a bunch of stuff's come together. One of the
It all came
beauties,
together like that, right?
right?
Over so many years. We won't go
Right,
into
exactly.
Well, we're going to go a step further today, and we're just talking about living into the life that we are forming once we have a job and stop working that everyday job, and just what that looks like. Retirement or new life, however you want to look at it. There are issues that come along with that, but we're here to help people actually have a plan for retirement, which is kind of funny because many people think, oh, I don't want to do anything for the first 6 months or 6 weeks or whatever. And then they get kind of stuck in a rut and don't know how to get out of it and don't know that they're in a rut many times. And then they look back after 15 years when they realize they hit that snooze button and they just have been drifting along doing whatever. So we're here to help people learn how to live with purpose, intention, as Randy Carlson would say, intentional living. It's just exciting stuff. It really can be. You and I both, Mary Lou, just really are on the same page when it comes to we don't feel that God has given us all the opportunities in our lives and experiences in our lives to just sit back and do nothing. They're
Isn't
there
that
to
the
pass
truth?
on. Yeah,
Right,
amen. They're just
right.
they're there to pass on to others and to walk alongside others. And at this time in our life, we're walking alongside one another because those leaders and people who guided us through the rest of our lives, they're gone, right? Many of
Right,
our siblings,
right.
many of our parents, our grandparents, aunts and uncles who have walked alongside and helped to educate us and help to teach us and help us to learn the different lessons of life, and they're no longer around to walk alongside us. So now we have to walk alongside one another and lift one another up and help cheer one another on and just enjoy and embrace life. So we're going to talk about 5 different things today. First of all, we're going to embrace this freedom and just kind of do an inventory and assessing. You want to speak to that, Mary Lou?
Yeah, absolutely. I just had a thought as you were describing, we're embracing this newfound time, and we almost think, okay, my work life is over, and now I can just do whatever. And I think about the biblical principles of work. God calls us to work. Our
Right.
day still is very busy, no matter what we do, spending it. We are called to work, and it's a gift to work.
Mhm.
And I had a pastor one time who I remember gave a great picture of work in a sense. And he said, when you first wake up in the morning and you're hungry, right? It's morning time and you're hungry, you want breakfast. He said, do you typically lay there in bed and acknowledge to God you're hungry? And then you do nothing more than just wait for the bacon and eggs to come floating by, right?
Right,
As if
right,
that's going to happen. God
right.
says, get up, go rattle some pots and pans and break some eggs and pour some pancake batter and start flipping, and I will direct you. And
Yes.
that's the difference. And I think we have to embrace that mindset.
Mhm.
And so we're just doing different work now. but really, and you said something very key there, Liz, too. I want to recapture some of that. Yes, it's all about how people who have invested in us through our career, our life journey, may not be with us, but that torch now has passed. And in addition to those who've invested in us, we now have the obligation to take all the years of wisdom and experiences that God has gifted us and pour into others. And I
Absolutely.
think that's just a nice reminder to think about, we're not here to skate. Sure, it's fun to hang out for a while, but I'll guarantee you won't be a lifelong satisfied learner or living life with that approach, right?
And our whole aspect is to help people to thrive, not just survive.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the difference right there.
Exactly. So the first tip, and I want to play on what you had set up there, that first tip about making this transition is to embrace the freedom. I mean, think about all those days in your job that you were counting towards getting out of to retirement. And if you're like me, at some point I was thinking, even dreaming of what would be my perfect day if I were retired. I would wake up, make a latte, take my time, go shopping, do nothing. I'm fantasizing as I'm thinking through. And I really would challenge everyone to think about the mindset of embracing the freedom. It's talk about a gift,
Yes.
truly a gift to reframe, redirect, reposition, and the time that it would take for us to think about what we want to do in retirement is our opportunity to explore those new passions, those new hobbies, those new experiences. We don't have the Sunday scaries anymore, thinking, oh, I got to get all this done in order to get back on the treadmill, Monday. It's really a time to discover oneself and pursue those things that will bring you that God-centered joy and
Yes.
fulfillment. Truly is.
I love that. That really is impactful. So we're going to reflect on our priorities. We're going to think about things that bring us joy, and we're going to explore different things.
Mhm.
And how do we determine where we should be headed at this point?
That
What
is a great that is a great question because I know there's probably many people thinking, I don't really know what I'm good at, or I'm not sure what my passion is. That can be a really tough question to answer, especially when we've been so focused
yes,
on job and work and production and just living life and getting our, points all taken care of. People now are faced with answering that question. Well, what do you want to do? What are you really good at? And it wouldn't be uncommon for people to go, I don't know.
yeah,
I've never really thought about it. I just put 4 kids through college. I don't know.
right, exactly.
But
And I think that's a struggle sometimes because
yeah,
we've always been for how many years now we've been waking up and going through a routine and going to
yeah,
work and coming home and doing this and doing that, and just to not have that structure, sometimes that in itself is a struggle. And
yeah.
just then to look inward and outward as to, okay, so what are my strengths? What do I really enjoy doing? What do
Wow.
I not want to do? I sometimes you can determine what you don't do want to do by what you don't want to do.
Mhm. Yeah. In fact, I used that approach to several bosses I had over the years. I learned as much from the bad bosses. I will never do that.
Exactly, exactly.
Right?
I don't know, that kinda reminds me of when my parents would say something, it's like, I will never say that to my kids until
Right.
those words come out of your mouth, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, did I just say that?"
Did I just do that? Well, again, it's a really good point, Liz, because I have two concrete ideas
Mhm.
to help people just solidify being able to answer that question. A favorite tool of mine, and many of your listeners may be aware of this, is the Strength Finders 2.0.
It is
And
my favorite too.
it's
It's
an
really good.
excellent, excellent book. It's available on Amazon. And
Yep.
cool about it is that in the back of the book, there is a code, and you will go online to their website and complete an assessment.
Mhm.
And you get it right there. And what it tells you are the five signature talents and strengths that you naturally have been given. And what I mean by that is you, as a child of God, have been created with a very unique footprint of talents and skills and all these wonderful things. And you are going to be better at those five things than anyone else who doesn't have those same five things and tries to build skills towards it. They'll never be as good as
Right,
you. And
right.
what's really cool is it helps people to kind of put a vocabulary together. It could be anything from being very action oriented.
Mhm.
That's a talent. There are a lot of people who are very good at speaking up, getting it done, knowing what needs to get done, and they do it well. It might be building relationships. It might be something like harmony.
Mhm.
All there's 34 different strengths that the Gallup poll over the years has developed and fine-tuned into this assessment. So it's
I know
a
you've taken it. Do you
yes,
remember what yours are?
I do. Yes. And they're in rank order,
Uh-huh.
and they can flip a little bit over time, but
Right.
my core number one is strategic. I'm
Yes.
very good at looking at the big picture, looking how would I organize a kitchen, you
Yes.
know, based
And
on
she's got that down pat, people.
yeah.
I know from personal experience.
Right. It's fun. I enjoy it. Yeah,
Yes.
strategic thinking is one. Another one I have is relationships. Just embracing people for people. In fact, the mantra of my business is I help leaders manage their employees and their work base is people are people first, employees second. We
Absolutely.
can
Yes. It's so important to remember.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then my third one is something kind of fun. It's called WOO. WOO
Yes.
is an acronym for winning over others.
Uh-huh.
So, those are my three core. Learner, I am a lifelong learner, is in that mix. And there's just a few others that, depending on kind of what I'm doing at the
Mhm.
moment, I've taken it over many years.
Yes.
Those three and four stated to be the core, but I really recommend that for our listeners because I think
I think it's
it helps them.
wonderful as well. And I had some of the similar ones that you did.
Did
Uh,
you?
the one that stands out in my mind was futuristic.
Oh,
And
yes.
that was one of my, maybe even my top one. I think it
That
was.
is you. I can
Yeah.
see that. Yes.
It
You're
was
very good at looking out over. Oh, you are a visionary, Liz. I tell you.
it
That,
is a gift. It
that
is.
is a gift.
I've come to embrace it and to run with it. And that's kind of what we're talking about right
Yeah,
here and now is learn how to take those things and to uh, use them in ways maybe we haven't thought about before. And okay,
exactly. Yeah.
so how can I use that? And honestly, this was what we're doing right now was never on my agenda to do. And it just it cracks me up how well, a little bit of my story is God brought me to Arizona. It's a God prompting. And after I moved here, I was sitting on my steps and I said, okay, God, you know I moved here, right? Because I was not feeling why I was here. And then I recognized that I was in a neighborhood of over 2,000 55 plus people and helping people learn how to retire and live fully and thrive instead of survive into their last quarter of their years. It's just a God-given gift, and that was my futuristic coming out. So it
Right.
definitely does work together and does bring me great joy. I just get excited thinking about it.
I think that's awesome. And, people might be thinking, oh, well, those sound so great and lofty, and I'd love to know my strengths, but I'm not leading or I'm in a big work environment where I would do things. And I'd say, you know
Right.
what? Look in your own backyard.
Absolutely.
Think
I
that's
was sitting in my own backyard when
There
I
you
was
go.
asking
Literally
the
sit in your
question.
own backyard and figure out what you could do to transfer those skills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I can't call the yard. I don't have a blade of grass in it, so we blow our yards instead of mow our yards here.
Oh, nice. Well,
So
I
I'm
think,
sorry. Going
yeah,
on with the priorities and strength finders and
yeah,
exploring.
yeah. And that's really my second tip to this, being able to figure out the passion. Get out there and try it.
Yes.
Go explore some new things, try a new place to eat. You might like that type of food, or learn a language, or whatever it might be. What's the only failure in any of that is regret of not trying. Most
Absolutely.
people don't end their life with, "Oh, I'm so sorry I failed." It's usually, "I'm so sorry I didn't do
Oh,
X."
yes, or I wish I hadn't tried that. Nobody says that.
No, no, no.
It's always a gift of trying. It may not be something you ever want to do again. I
Right.
can think of a couple experiences. I have a fear of heights, and I push myself to do height things that scare the heck out of me because
Yeah,
I know that's how I will help get over my fear, and it does help.
it
But
does.
maybe zip lining on an island is not the first place to start, or
Right.
going out on the skywalk at the Grand Canyon where I actually literally had to get down my hands and knees because I could not walk around. But
Seriously,
I
yeah.
don't
But
regret doing that. I laugh every time I look back on it because I literally dropped to my knees, and, it's okay. I didn't fail. I did it. I still did it,
right.
and it's one of the best experiences I had in my
There you
life
go.
because the beauty of it was
Well, and we're
so
still talking about it today, so it's
absolutely,
valuable.
yes.
Right. I have one of my favorite quotes has come from a movie that was out a number of years ago called Florence Jenkins with Meryl
Okay.
Streep. And it's
Oh,
a true story of a
okay.
woman who had a very wealthy means to produce operas and such.
Nice.
And she was a singer.
Uh-huh.
I say that in quotes because, by her own definition, she was a singer, an opera singer, and
Okay.
unfortunately probably wouldn't get hired, being
Okay.
on the circuit. But she had enough money to create, right? And she had this you name it. Well, at the end of her life, one of my favorite quotes came from that movie, and she said, you know people may say that I couldn't sing, but no one will ever say I didn't sing.
Oh, wow.
I loved it.
I love that.
I loved it. And I think that
Absolutely.
applies to so much of what we think about.
Yes.
The worst,
Yes.
as I said, the worst fear is not so much failing. It's not learning from the failure. That's
That's
all.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. And
Well,
speaking of learning,
yeah.
so I believe this is tip number 3, that to learn continuously, I do not have a degree, but at one time I went back and I counted up all the classes and continuing ed and the other expansions that I've done and learning that I've done over the years. I have continued to learn every day. I'm always reaching out and trying to expand and learn. And I look back at some of the people I went to school with or some of my friends who got a degree and they hung their hat up and quit learning after that.
Right.
It's like, what a shame, what a waste, but
Really.
if we're not learning, what are we doing?
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes I came up with on a blog a few months back was, "The minute you stop learning is the day you stop growing." I just thought
Absolutely.
there's such a connection there, right?
Absolutely. And you
Yeah,
don't just hit a plateau, you don't sit there. You're either
right.
learning or you're going downhill. So
Exactly.
which place do you wanna be?
Exactly. And with all the research that's out now in neuroscience and the way the
Yes.
brain functions, it's fascinating. We used to think the brain was this hard and fast rock, and that was what you got is what you got, and
Mhm.
that your IQ even was set. There was
Yes.
no improving it or anything like that. Well, what we know now is that brain is so plastic and so pliable. You can literally retrain new neurons to
Yes.
learn continuously every day. So it is feeding and constantly adopting that mindset.
Oh, I
So,
love Dr. Andrew Huberman and
mhm,
Huberman Labs. He talks
mhm,
about this all the time, how we can continue to grow our brain. And
yes,
you're right, we are of the mindset that we just reached a pinnacle and then that was it. We don't grow our brain anymore. And totally not the case. And so we
right.
have to continue feeding it though. It's just like any other part of our body. If we don't feed it, it fails or it
Yeah.
goes backwards. So yeah, so that's great. I love the continuous learning and growing and expanding and exploring because
Mhm.
that's all really good. So,
Yeah.
how about relationships?
Well, that's part of that wheel of fulfillment that God has created in us. He, more on one occasion, says it's not good for man to be alone, that we are created for community. And I
Yes,
know for some people that's a little difficult. Some people say, I like to be alone. I don't want people around me. And that's okay if that's not what you need, even though that's very different from how we're
yes,
created.
right.
But what about the people that you could serve
Yes,
by being in their presence?
yes,
What about the people you could come alongside?
yes,
And lo and behold, even though you may not need people, there's a lot of people out there who are looking and need you.
yes,
And by
absolutely.
putting ourselves out there, and so I think with that time we've got now, if we're not working every day in a job, we can really do two things. One, we can nurture
Mhm,
and deepen the
mhm,
existing relationships we've got with family, friends, loved ones, sharing our stories and learning from them. I think that's great. And we can also take that time and seek out new
yes,
relationships. If you love gardening, if you love golf, if you love whatever, fill in the blank, seek out those communities that also love that particular passion. I'll give you an example. I just spoke with a dear friend of mine. She's in her early 80s
okay.
and she's recently moved across country. And one of her passions was world travel. She would just love
Hey,
to.
I love her.
I get it. She'd love to go anywhere and do anything and travel with friends and groups and such. Well, she's not quite as able to maybe be on some as extensive trips as
Sure.
she used to. But instead, she also is in a community for
Mhm.
55 and older. She's organized a local travel group.
I love it.
And they're taking day trips to
Yes,
a lot of places. She's in a part of the country not far from Washington, D.C., and
yes,
organizing day trips and getting people together. And let's go to the FBI or let's go to the Mint or,
love
do
it.
something for the day.
Fun,
And
yes,
has made so many great friends.
yes. I
Love
love and I think that that too is important, it's many times when I'm here, I'm thinking, "Okay, I'm just kinda I just wanna kinda go and watch a movie or something,
it.
kind
Mhm,
drift off
mhm.
on my own." I'm an outgoing introvert is what I call it. I
Yes,
thought I was
sure.
an extrovert most of my time, but I'm actually an outgoing introvert. I'm
Yeah,
fine being alone as well.
yeah.
But the thing that we don't recognize is that when we're working in a work environment, we have these relationships with people that who we're with on a daily basis, and we get to know their families, and we get to share life with them and life experiences with them. That's one aspect. It was kind of a real aha for me when I started doing more research and delving into this subject even more, is that we don't take in consideration that those relationships may be gone altogether, or they're at least different than what they were when you were working together full
Right.
time. And so,
Right.
what are some ways that we can strengthen or expand those relationships? You mentioned to find things like clubs and things like that,
Yeah.
create things like your friend did with her
Yeah.
travel bug that she does.
Exactly. Or once you feel comfortable in identifying your passions and what your strengths are, as those areas we just talked about, figure out where can you go now to plant those
Yes.
in your backyard or in your
Yes.
community, in your
Right.
local YMCA. Maybe they need help with strategic thinking or organizing a fundraiser, and that's what you used to do. I mean,
Right.
it's really unlimited, really unlimited. Yeah.
I think another resource that I didn't think of, but I visited the library here and I was surprised how much of a resource they were for things like that as well. And
Hmm.
so that they have connecting points there, ways that you can reach out to other people in a
Right,
similar interest there too. So
right.
that may be something else that you look at.
Absolutely. I want to go back though. You said
Yeah.
something very key that I want listeners to capture. I think not only is it okay, it's absolutely critical to factor in some downtime.
Yes.
That's just as, there might be folks who are just hitting all barrels in 9 million directions and are
Yes.
thriving on that. And I wouldn't want any one of us to spend these precious years one day wake up and go, whoa, what just happened?
Right. Yes. Either
I've just,
way,
yeah,
lack of or overdoing it,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, a
Absolutely.
rock skipping across the river. It's like, okay,
Right.
well, what just happened? I'm 95 now. I
Yes.
don't even know where the last 20 years went. Okay. I don't
Yes.
think that's so healthy either.
I agree.
So those times we do need to be alone and we do need that
Yes.
internal. We need our time with God every day and we need that
Yes.
recharge. God rested on
Yes.
the, seventh day. It
Yeah.
wasn't he was tired.
Right.
He is modeling as a
Yes.
good leader the behavior.
Self-care. Yes.
Right, right. So I
Well,
think
and the
it's
thing,
okay.
I mean, I think we have to be kind to ourselves and learn how to do that. Some people are better at it than others, and I felt guilty for years if I felt like I needed to take a nap or went and took a nap anyhow, whether I felt like I need to or not.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I felt guilty for many reasons that I won't go into, but it's like, no, I
Yeah.
feel that I need to do that for my body, and, it is such a joy to just go and do that and not feel guilty about it. In fact, I have some friends who, um, say, "Well, I never nap." It's like, "It's okay, you don't have to," but I do. My body needs it periodically,
Sit
and
in the lawn chair in the backyard then,
absolutely, it
stare at the
doesn't
fence.
matter. Yes, you have to do what feeds you and
Right,
nurtures you and cares for you,
right.
and not be judgmental about other people and how they do that, feel
Exactly.
let them feel free to have self-care the way that they need it. I think it's very healthy to do
Yeah.
that, for
Yeah,
sure.
I definitely agree. Yeah.
So, then when we have all those 4 things going on, celebrating. I
Yeah.
love to celebrate.
Yeah. I don't think we do enough of that. And, I
Totally
think
agree.
about the whole work career life. Employers are smart to know people, as one of Maslow's hierarchy of needs says, we all have that need for self-esteem,
Yes.
a sense of, achievement
Accomplishment, yes, uh-huh.
accomplishment, right? So that so much is done for us, even in
Yes.
birthdays. You
Uh-huh.
have your little
Right,
corporate birthday parties for the month, whatever it
right.
is.
Uh-huh.
We tend to forget to celebrate some of the new goals, perhaps, that we want to achieve. Just like you were saying, you had a goal, I'm going to go do something that will completely take me out of my comfort zone, put me in the panic zone, and I ended up
Yes,
crawling on my knees to get out of it, right?
yes, yes,
But
absolutely.
you've celebrated the effort.
Yes.
And I think we forget to do that. We want to bring these collective years of all this experience, all this wisdom. We want to channel that through new skills, new adventures, because truly, in my mind, Liz, retirement or transitioning, whatever you want to call it, it's not about so much reflecting back on great memories. Yes, that's part of it.
Mhm,
But I think it's even more about creating new memories
mhm.
for this joyous future ahead of us.
Mhm,
And doing all those things, taking care of ourselves physically
mhm.
and making sure we're treating this body as we need to, and doing all those things really sets us up for the most inspirational part of our entire life, really.
I agree, and I think you really hit the nail on the head there when you're talking about taking care of our bodies. I have to work harder at taking care of my body at this time in my life, but I'm healthier than what I've been in decades,
Yeah.
which is eye-opening to me. It's like, who would have thought that that would be the case, you know? But I really am healthier. You know, I'm hiking, I'm swimming, I'm kayaking, I'm biking. In fact, it cracks me up because I I think of the neighborhood in which I live that it's adult camp. And the first time that all my friends were here back from the Midwest for the winter, and I get on my bike and I ride over to their house so we could all ride down to the center of Gilbert together and have lunch together. And
I
I
love it.
just started laughing because it's like, oh my gosh, it's like a bunch of little kids riding their bikes over so they could go to the candy store, you know? It just
And
reminded
buy
me
candy
that,
that was 6 cents.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you could get penny candy then.
Oh, I remember getting $1 to go to the movie, and with
Oh my
that, I
gosh.
got in, got my popcorn, my
Yeah,
drink, and a box of candy, and came home with a
abs
quarter. Yeah.
absolutely,
Now,
yes,
don't we sound like our grandmas, our great
right.
grandmas? Nothing
Walked uphill
changes.
to school both ways and 10 feet barefoot, right?
Exactly right. In Southern California, thank you.
That's right, exactly. So
Oh,
I
great.
think it's just so important that we celebrate life and celebrate one
Yes.
another, small victories, and
Yes.
just to know that life can be good even if it's not how we expected it. I have a dear friend who has some major lung issues going on, and he has chosen to live life with joy. So he's looking at,
Yeah.
even though he's wearing oxygen 24/7,
Yeah.
he goes for bike rides with us. He has an electric bike. He doesn't have to pedal. You know, it
I
makes it
love it.
easy. He can do that, and he
I
has a
love it.
backpack for his oxygen.
I
And
love it.
you know, he's a musician. Has been for years. Sang, played saxophone, some other things. Okay, so now he's playing bass guitar because it takes less strength and he doesn't have to worry about his breathing, you know, like he
Mhm.
does with singing and things like that. So
Mhm.
I'm so proud of him, and we just had a conversation the other day of how excited I was that he was able to still live a life, a full life, and
Yeah.
full of joy.
Yeah.
And it's just, it is what you make it. It's
It
choice.
is. It is. You know, I think a great way to wake up every morning is to say, "Good morning, God. Why did you wake me up
Yeah.
today?"
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Because your
Mm.
friend may physically be attached to an oxygen. We, all of us are,
Yes.
by the minute. By the
Yes.
grace of God, He
Yes.
holds our next breath in His
Yes.
hands.
Yep.
And as long as He's given you a next breath,
Yeah.
He has work yet for you to do.
And I think just, you know, I do some breath work and have learned to do that, which is another great way to take care of yourself. And I think just breathing in, filling your lungs, and taking
Mm,
God in when
yes,
you do that, and feeling His presence in a new and special way is just
yes.
life-giving as
It
well.
truly is. He's our
Yeah.
sustenance. That's right. He's our
Yeah.
very sustenance every day.
Yes, I
Mm.
just love that. So, what other gems do you have to share with us today, Mary Lou?
Oh my
Anything
goodness.
you've covered?
I just think we are here for whatever time we have on earth to serve our creator and to come from joy, even
Yes.
paying a bill. I was sharing with you before the show, it's tax season, right?
Right, right.
Well, that scripture about pay Caesar what's due Caesar, that hit me really hard today.
Yes, yes. A little too hard, right?
Harder than I expected.
Right, right.
But I look at that and I'm very grateful that I have what's been given to me, even though I have to pay this big bill or even an electrical bill. And
Yes,
the fact that we even have electricity,
yes,
people in this world would die to be paying an
yes,
electrical bill.
yes,
And I think we need to reframe so many things as we encounter our days to
agree.
come. And I would say just that, come from gratitude,
Yes,
come from everything you've been given. God owes us nothing,
absolutely.
nothing.
Yes, he's already paid it all.
He has paid it all.
Yep.
We are secure
Yes.
and we are safe. Our soul and our being will be with him in glory forever. He owes us nothing above that.
Yes.
And to me, it's just whatever we have is frosting. And
I totally agree.
I'll conclude with those who have been given much,
Yes.
of much is required.
Yes.
So,
Amen. Oh, Mary Lou, it's always such a pleasure just to sit and chat with
likewise.
you, but especially doing this, I so appreciate you. I appreciate your wisdom and your time, and just how you present things just always makes me smile. I love it. Love
Well,
you, my
thank
friend.
you.
You take good care of you, okay?
I gotcha. All
Thank
righty.
you.
Thanks, Liz.